Hi guys, welcome back to a new video. In today's video, we'll understand what AI agents are all about. So when we talk about AI agents, the first thing that comes into our mind is what is basically AI, right? And in today's world, AI is taking the entire ID industry by storm. And the reason behind AI being so powerful is because of the data which is ingested within it. So an AI is as good as the data which is sort of fed into it. And utilizing this data, an AI is able to perform, right, with the help of the potential. So the potential to understand the trends and the patterns within the informations or the data which is fed into the AI, utilizing which it's able to give out effective solutions or useful insights or the effective output that a user is searching for. And utilizing this AI, we are able to do a series of jobs, out of which I've just mentioned a handful out here, like creating chat sort of an interface or a chatbot, generating content from scratch, as well as predicting future datas, right? And let's say if I want to do all these tasks, automatically and create an automative process, right? Without any human supervision, that is something which is done by AI agents. Now, let me explain it in a simpler manner as well. So when we talk about AI agents, we can understand it in three simple steps. That is, first, starting with understanding. Second is thinking or think process. And the third one becoming the act. Let me elaborate it a little bit more. So for example, let's say it's a user like you, right? Who probably is asking a question. So a question in the AI terminology becomes nowadays prompt, right? So you ask a question which is nothing else but prompts, and then the agent basically receives that particular prompt. It what it does is that it perceives the entire environment where it is residing, understands it, and then it takes input data. It basically is able to then sort of do a lot of algorithmic task onto it. It is able to perform various mathematical tasks on top of that data, sort of utilizing the neural networks and all those concepts behind the scenes, for example, and then you know is able to perform decision making like steps on top of it, and then it repeats that process in order to understand and gain further informations and more clarity upon that data. So it's something like understanding the trends and patterns from the data, making decisions, and then sort of re-verifying that particular decision. And post that, it's able to perform the action like creating chat interfaces, generating content from scratch, predicting informations or datas in the near future. And once it's able to do that, it gives the response back to the user. Let me give you a real life example. For example, let's say you are wanting to reduce your weight. Probably let's say a person is not healthy and they want to reduce their weight and create a better overall health. Then for that, first thing they'll do is that they'll go to a gym and sort of get them assigned a coach. So the coach first, what they will do is that they can give them a routine, right? For example, let's say depending upon the height, body weight, they ask the particular user or the person to sort of, get into physical activities like running, probably get into weight exercises along the way. As the time progresses, they ask them to go for, let's say, more hyper athletic kind of workouts like cycling, obviously keeping the eating or the food on point, and then taking a lot of rest and then repeating the entire process again to get the best results. In similar manner, over here in agentic AI, what happens is that a developer or a user gives the sort of let's say input, right? Prompts basically to the AI agents. And the AI agents now, what it does is that it sort of takes those inputs, understands it, and behind the scenes, what it does is that it has some sort of a workflow and utilizing which it is able to perform a series of tasks that the user wants to. All this without any kind of human supervision. Depending upon the input prompts, the agent understands the particular ask very effectively, and then it's able to give a very simple and an optimal output or a result. Now, let's say if I have to explain it in another manner, and sort of if you want to understand the real life use case or how does it actually work behind the scenes, then what happens is that a particular user like you or me can be sort of interacting. When we talk about interacting with the AI agents, it happens in the form of an interface. So this interface can be a mode of laptop or peripheral desktops or systems. It can be a mobile phone or it can be sort of a voice activated agent as well, right? And what happens is that once you utilize this sort of an interface behind the scenes, it connects themselves to an agent. So an AI agent is basically a series of bots, you can say so, which is now connected to a workflow. So there are separate workflows created for separate tasks. For example, let's say if I want to automate an email, then what happens is that it will go into my data repositories, for example, to my Gmail account, fetch the kind of information that I want to, take ahead or go ahead, have a data source in place, for example, a database from which it can fetch out the informations, create an email draft, and then respond to it. And that's how the process works. Similarly, you can have another workflow automation done for invoicing, another one for example, let's say uh, HR inquiries, and so on and so forth. Once this workflow is created, what it happens is that the workflow gives a result which is then fetched back to the AI agent, or it's like reverted back into the AI agents, which then pushes it back to the interface through which we are able to receive the response. Now, to sort of simplify the entire process that is being shown here, I can say that AI agents, what it does is that in 4 steps, if I have to put, is that it can take inputs in simple manner, give you uh, processing capabilities or operating capabilities in order to fetch that input and then do some task over it. Understand that input, sort of try and make sense out of it, and then give you sort of outputs or results. And in doing so, it continuously keeps on learning so that if it's given similar task, then it does not have to reiterate the entire process again, but it can sort of take that experiences that it has beforehand and then leverage it to give you a faster and a less time consuming response. Now, when we talk about AI agents, there are multiple types of AI agents, starting with learning agents. As the name suggests, that this particular agent loves learning. It understands things through the experiences and then responds effectively to give the optimal results. Second is your model-based agents. As the name suggests, again, the model-based agents are like agents which have past memory infused. So let's say if it's doing some A task, right? And it's able to do it perfectly fine. In the B task, let's say if certain capabilities or partial capabilities of the task A which was previously done is required, then the agent is quite intelligent enough to understand from its past experiences so that it does not have to reiterate that particular steps and saves times, and hence it's able to do the task very effectively. That's model based agent for you. Then comes utility based agent. So a utility based agent is a very effective agent again. It takes every step depending upon the utility of the task so that it has to take the minimal steps to reach the optimum result. For example, let's say a food delivery agent who for example, let's say Zomato or probably Swiggy or any other agent, let's say any other food delivery app, let's say Panda and all that. So what they do is that they might take the nearest route that can sort of provide you your food in the fastest way or the shortest time, can save a lot of fuel consumption, at the same time can give them bonus rewards or let's say effective responses or feedbacks. So that is utility based agent example for you. Similarly, then there's an hierarchical agent. So basically a hierarchical agent works in a manner where the top, it just works like a company, right? The For example, you can take the first part, on the topmost part, as an your the company CEO, for example, who does the strategizing and the like let's say the planning part of the things. Then the middle layer comes where the decision making happens, and the last layer or the bottommost layer, which basically where the execution happens. So a hierarchical agent works in steps so that the agent can divide the task effectively and can do everything in a very periodical, at the same time in a very methodical fashion. Then we have something called as multi-agent. So a multi-agent is just like a team work kind of an agent, where within the team everybody is assigned task and they sort of work among themselves to sort of deliver a task in a very effective manner. Okay, so they all collaborate among themselves to do certain activities and hence provide you the response at the earliest. Then comes your goal-based agent. So a goal-based agent is basically an agent which is basically very much goal oriented. So it it can sort of take its steps depending upon the future results that it might need to achieve. So depending upon that, it has calculated steps that it takes in order to sort of get the results. And lastly, we have simple reflex agents. So these agents do not have any past memory infused. It works in the current or the present times, and hence it's able to do its task in a very simpler fashion. It does not have, when we talk about not having in the past memories, that means that this agent is simply used for very nominal tasks, which does not require too much of thinking or too much of understanding of the data. So that's simple reflex agent, and that sums up the entire AI agentic portfolio. And that's it, guys. With this, we are with the end of this video. If you like this video and you had gained some information, then don't forget to like the video and subscribe the channel. And yeah, with this, I'll catch you guys up again in the next video. And until then, keep on reimagining data with AI. Thank you, guys.